Hey, what's up, Adventure family? I am excited. Today, we get the chance to talk through all the details and all of the information about Regathering, which is coming up here in about a week and a half on Sunday, June 21st. Now, before we go into all of this information, I just want to say I know that there are people in the Adventure family and in our communities and in our families that we are not quite ready to make this shift, this transition back to Regathering or in a larger group of people. And I want you to know right off the bat whether that's because you find yourself in the vulnerable population, whether it's due to age or pre-existing condition, or just out of an abundance of caution, this is something that you're not quite ready to do yet. I want you to understand and know that that is totally okay. And that's something where the people that are ready to get back together are not looking at the people that are not, like you're crazy or you're less than or worse or that we're better or anything like that. I just want to stress from the beginning that that's not the case. But this is rather an opportunity for us to once again open our doors to our community and know that those doors are going to stay open just as they have been virtually and digitally forever. So whenever you're ready to make the return, that is 100% okay. And we'll welcome you back when you're ready to do that. So let me go through some of this information with you so that you know what's going to be happening. And I'll be bouncing back and forth to being on screen here with you and also just walking you through a little bit of information as well on some slides. So let's go to the slides. So Regathering, we know, is coming up on June 21st. But before we get into, again, some of the details, I just want to walk you through the three non-negotiables that we had as we were even kicking around all these ideas. And this comes from the conversations that the elders and leadership of the church had, as well as the staff had as well. These were the guardrails for us as we thought through what this needs to look like. And those three things were to be safe. We want to move forward in the safest way possible, caring for and valuing the lives of our people. We don't want to be flippant with that. We don't want to be careless with the lives of our people. We feel responsible and accountable to that and to be as safe as we can. We also want to do it right. We want to adhere to the guidance and direction of state and local leaders and medical professionals to the best of our ability. And to listen to those suggestions and to do the things that we need to do again as we are able and as those things are possible. And then the last one is we want to leave no one behind, right? So we want to continue to produce, and we are going to continue to produce digital and online resources to meet people where they are because that's what Jesus would do. Jesus was so good at meeting people where they were. We want to be like that, and we'll do that as long as we need to do that in order to successfully meet our families and our communities where people are. So those were the three non-negotiables for us. So as we go into what we're getting ready to talk through, just know that everything that we've done has gone through those filters before they were stamped and said, yes, this is the direction that we're planning on heading. So if you can remember, think back to our church meeting we had a few weeks ago. We walked through kind of the phased reopening plan for Adventure. And right now, we are currently, for the next week and a half, in this phase two, part one area, which is that late May section. So it's that second orange column. That is the place where we are right now. So our main worship services, they're online, and you're also able to take advantage of watch parties, D groups, things like that are all online. Everything at this point is online. Where we're getting ready to transition into is that third orange column, that phase two, part two, which is mid to late June, when things shift back to being in person. Again, with some caveats and with some expectations and with some changes. So that is, if you want to refer back to this document originally when we talked through this a while ago, just know like this is now the phase we're getting ready. We're getting ready to cross that little white gap that exists between column two and column three, and we're going to live in column three for a while. So just want to bring this back up just because I know that's something we talked through before. So here's what the things are going to look like. And again, just again to establish some baselines, this is still the case. If you're not feeling well, even if the symptoms are not related to COVID, we're asking you to stay home, just like we would if there wasn't a global pandemic. We would say if you're not feeling well, it's probably not good to come to church. Same would go for your kids and things like that. If you've got kids that aren't feeling well, it's probably not a good idea to come to church. And we would say that regardless of if we were dealing with coronavirus or not. People in vulnerable population groups, again, pre-existing conditions, or people who are older. I think 65 and up is the number that they're using. You're welcome to attend at this point, and you are welcome to use PPE. And we still, for people in those categories, we are still producing digital and online content for you, because we don't want you to be left behind, and we don't want you to feel like you're not a part of the story of adventure at this point in time, and what God's doing in our church and in our community. And also, this also applies to anyone and everyone that would like to come to church. Is you are all welcome to wear a mask and use PPE. In fact, we will have extra masks on hand, should you need one, if that's going to make you feel a little bit more comfortable or want to use one. We'll have supplies here on hand if you don't have a mask, or if you get here and you feel like, I didn't bring my mask with me, but I actually think I kind of want one now. We'll have those things for you in case that's something that you would like. So we've rearranged and we've reconfigured our auditorium to, one, allow for more spaces in between rows, to make rows smaller and a little more accommodating for individual family groups, but also just to create more space in the room. And so this is kind of what the room looks like right now, and what it will look like when you return on Sunday the 21st. We have 4 sections, and there are multiple ways in and out of those sections. Again, it's not one of those things where everybody gets funneled through one path, but there are multiple ways in and out, which just makes it easier to kind of navigate the room. And there's more space. There's just more space between each chair. There's more space, obviously, between all these sections, and things like that. So just want you to know, when you come back, it's going to look a little different, right? The stage is in the middle of the room. The band is much smaller. We don't have, multiple vocalists or instruments or things like that. It's a really kind of scaled down, intimate, I think, really cool feeling group and band, and the way we're doing all that kind of stuff. And so that's something that we're actually pretty excited about. It gives us the opportunity to be creative in our space and use that room, because it's a really flexible space, and it can do a lot of really cool things. So the room's going to look a little bit different. And again, a lot of this is for safety, and some of it is also just the opportunity for us to do something that's a little bit different than what we've done, and kind of worshiping in the round, or in this case, in an X, which is what it is. So we're excited about that. So here's the deal with main worship. There are 2 live service options, 10 a.m. and 11:15 a.m. And services, they're going to be shorter. They're going to be 50 to 55 minutes long. Again, some of this is just because we want to limit exposure, but some of it is just we want to be able to have enough time to turn over and be able to clean, and get everything ready for the next service. So the services are going to be a little bit shorter. There is going to be live worship with singing. It's one of those things where we feel like we wanted to wait as long as we could, because while we could have opened church a few weeks ago or months ago and done it right now, we wanted to do it right and not right now, and so we wanted to wait. And so there is going to be live worship with singing. I get and I know that that's a concern for some folks, but again, that's why we have the online option. So you are able to stay home and continue to watch church online if that's something that you would like to do. Also, that's why we're also allowing people to wear masks. If that's something that you feel like I would rather sing with a mask on, then you're able to do that. But we've also shortened the worship set, in the service as well. We've cut that pretty much in half, to 3 to 4 songs instead of more like 5 songs. So there is going to be singing, but we're not singing quite as many songs. And again, some of that is just so we can fit the service into a tighter window. Right below that, you'll see we still are going to have online services with live interaction, and those are going to be uploaded and ready to go approximately 12:30, and 6:30 p.m. So a little bit in the afternoon and a little bit in the evening, in case, again, some people, you just want to be able to circle back and catch it. We want to be able to give everyone ample opportunity to be able to watch, those online services. And so what we are going to be doing is we'll be recording the 10 a.m. service, and then upload that during the 11:15 a.m. service, so that hopefully it's ready to go by 12:30, or shortly thereafter. But then it will also post again at 6:30. Now we know that everybody has missed seeing one another. We know that we would love to be able to spend time seeing each other and chatting with one another and things like that. But for a couple reasons: one, we want to do this safely, but two, we also need, if you come to the 10 a.m. service, as soon as that service is over, we need you to get your kids from kids ministry or your students from student ministry and head right out the door, because we've got to begin the process of cleaning, wiping things down, turning things over, and getting things ready for the 11:15 service. And so what we've created is a post gathering community area, and it's right out the rear entrance of church. There's an easy up tent. We're going to have the old youth fridge, is going to be out there with bottled waters, and really it's a place that's a little bit more safe for everybody to gather and congregate and chat, because it's outside and there's more space and things like that. So that will be something that if you want to stick around and have a bottled water and hang out with your friends and chat with each other, we want to give you that opportunity. But again, we want to do it safe, and we also want to do it in a way where we can move everybody out and be able to clean and get the space ready for the 11:15 service. So as we're looking at these two services, the reason we landed on these service times was based on the survey results. I mean, people said that they would be willing to attend the 10 o'clock, and that it seemed to be that the 11:15 was the more popular option as we looked at adding different service times, whether that's earlier or later. But here's what I'm asking of you, church. If you are open to attending that 11:15 service, really want you to make that your choice. And here's why. The 10 o'clock service is obviously like that's the ideal service. We're not going to pretend for a second that it's not. That's the ideal service time. It's what we're used to. It's kind of a part of the rhythm. But here's the deal: as we are a growing church, and as we are trying to manage this strange tension between managing crowd sizes and also allowing for room for growth, I'm just asking. This is as me, your pastor and your friend. I'm asking to you to, if you're open to making that sacrifice and embracing a new rhythm, we would really, really appreciate that. Now, here's the deal. Now, this is going to be a little bit different, and I need you to stick with me on this. But the way that we're going to do this, these two service times, is there's going to be an online registration for Sunday service times, and I know that might feel weird, thinking like I have to register to come to church, I have to reserve a spot to come to church, I have to let people know what service that I'm coming to. And I understand that, right? I need you to know, and I need you to get, like, I get it. Like, that's not something that's normal. That's not something that's been a part of our rhythm in the past, of having to register for a service, or to reserve a spot at a service. But in light of everything that's going on, this is something that for now we're going to have to do. But again, let me just go back to a couple things on this slide. The reason we're doing this is it allows us to properly maintain crowd sizes, which in this case, it's one of those deals where we're having to navigate the tension of, we are a growing church. I mean, we are growing, and it's really cool. What God has done in this season has been phenomenal and incredible. The fact that in the midst of a global pandemic, our church has grown in terms of the amount of people plugging in and following along and joining in on services on Sundays. We're growing, and so we've got to navigate this strange tension of being able to manage crowd sizes, but also allow margin and room for growth. And so the first reason we're having everybody do this is that it allows us to properly maintain those crowd sizes and hold up our end of the bargain of doing things right. But also it helps us. It helps kids ministry and student ministry prepare those safe ministry environments and anticipate those volunteer needs, right? They're going to need to know how many volunteers they're going to need in these environments to make sure that we can keep people safe. Like we said, it still factors in space and margin for growth. And this is not something that we're going to ask you to do every single week, right? You're not going to have to, put a reminder or notification on your phone to remind you to register for church every Sunday. It's a one-time registration. We're going to send out a link, and it'll be a one-time registration that you'll go in, sign up, you and your family, for church. And here's the deal: we get that life changes. We get that sometimes we sign up for one thing and we go, I think I need to kind of switch. Or, we were gonna come to the 10 o'clock, but we had something this morning, or we're gonna come to the 11:15, but we've got stuff going on with our family. Is there any way we can come to the 10 o'clock? Like we say here in this slide, yeah, there changes can be made by request. And so there will be a way to do that, just by shooting an email here to church, and then we'll check the availability and we'll let you know if there's room in a service and you want to switch times. We'll let you know if that's possible and if there's space. And if so, by all means, we'll let you make those changes and be able to come to a different service time. Just know then in all of this, our goal as staff and leaders in the church, we're not. This is not like a militarized deal, right? This is not something where you're going to come in and the experience is going to be staff's going to be following you around with a 6 foot tape measure to make sure it's not going to be like that. And so understand that there's flexibility in this, and we want to allow for those opportunities and allow for people to understand that we still get there's a human side of this, and we don't want to function like a robot or a machine in these kinds of things. So we're allowing for some room and flexibility and changes and things like that. So because this is so different and because this is a new experience for all of us and it might feel kind of icky, I get that. But this is something that for now we're going to have to do until we can open things back up even more as we press further into the summer and into the fall. So that's just a little information again on some of the main service stuff. We have new hand sanitizer stations all throughout the building. We have 7 hand sanitizer stations that are being installed on walls throughout the building, in addition to just regular old pump hand sanitizer bottles just about everywhere throughout our building. There's not going to be a coffee bar, so the free coffee unfortunately is going away. But you can bring your own coffee, right? BYOC, bring your own coffee. The entrance and exit doors at either side of the main auditorium are going to be propped open during the beginning and ending of each service. And we're going to keep our HVAC system on. The fans on our HVAC system are going to stay on throughout the building in every room and every area to provide that air circulation that we know. That's something that they've recommended in some of the CDC guidelines and in the state guidelines, is that we do this so that we're circulating air throughout the building and providing fresh air and all that kind of stuff too. So that's something I know that sometimes that fan kicks on and kicks off. We'll just expect it the whole time to be on as we're pressing through. Again, just because we want to make things super safe. In addition to all this, high traffic areas and frequently used areas, including the auditorium chairs, are going to be wiped down and cleaned before each service, in between each service, and after each service. So we've got a team of volunteers that's going to be going through wiping everything down before the service starts, in between the two services, and after the 11:15 service. In addition to that, restrooms, they're also going to be cleaned before, in between, and after. And then kids and student ministry areas are also going to have the same deal. They're going to be cleaned before service, in between service, and after service. And some of this is, as we are looking at service times and things like that, we are going to make sure that all of that stuff is cleaned and wiped down and ready to go before we open doors to allow people into the building. And so just know that if you come to church, and even if it's the earlier service, the 10 o'clock service, if we say, hey, just kind of hang outside or hang here at the door. We're waiting for the go no go from kids ministry. We're waiting for the go no go from student ministry, just to make sure everything's been cleaned and wiped down. We're going to do all of that before we let people into the building, so that you're walking into a really clean and sanitized space. Regardless if you're coming to an early service or a later service, it makes no difference. So we're taking that time to make sure we do that and do that well. And then in service, we have prepackaged communion, and that will have multiple locations throughout the main worship area for you to grab that on your way to your seat. And you just take that with you to your seat. And then offering will be collected in a contact-free drop box as you leave. We got a little drop box with a slot that you can drop your offering in. We still recommend, like it says here, using the ACH option on the Church Center app. So you have the Church Center app. You can set up your giving there. You can do your giving there, and you can use that ACH option. That's the easiest and best way to do it. But if you want to bring a check or cash, whatever, you can put that in an envelope and drop that in that drop box as you leave to head out. Um, Kids Ministry is going to continue to offer things online. That's going to be available weekly on Facebook and YouTube, just as it has been. Kids Ministry is going to be live during the 10 and 11:15 service, and Student Ministry is going to be live during the 10 and 11:15 service. Now, this is different because kids and student ministry, they're going to be in age level programming while main service is happening. And so that's something that I know for some of us, especially if we have K-5 kids and students, we're not used to that. We're used to students being in the main auditorium during Sunday worship, and for elementary age kids to be there for half of that. We're shifting that. Again, some of that's due to the service time. Some of that's due to limiting the crowd sizes in main space, in that main worship area space. But it's also that we want to make sure that our kids have good quality time in kids ministry with their leaders and with those volunteers, walking them through the fruit of the Spirit this summer. And that student ministry has the same opportunity to spend time with Justin and the student ministry volunteers, and that they're not shortchanged in that. So we want to make sure we give those kids and our students the opportunities to spend time together and in their environments with their leaders. So that's why those things are the way that they are. Um, so let me just walk you through the traffic flow. Just generally speaking, I'm going to give you quite a bit of information on traffic flow, but let me walk you through this real quick. So this is just kind of the basic of when you come into the building. The front parking lot, where you see here on the left-hand side of the screen, that parking lot, that kind of follows the Ruck Regal Parkway parking lot. So that's the main entrance. That is an entrance only. So it doesn't matter if you park on the side of the church that faces Watson's. If you park on the side, it's just a short walk around the building to where the entrance is. Now, we do have handicap accessible entrance on the back side of the building, but that is only for folks who need that handicap accessibility. And that's also an area, if those spots are full, that's also an easy drop-off area as well. So this is entrance only. Entrance, that's the main entrance only, and then that back door, the rear entrance of the church, where we've been dropping off things for J-Town Area Ministries, Water Step, or Russell Neighborhood. That's an exit only. And so we're going to kind of keep that traffic flow as a one-way street in this case, wherever we can. And you'll see too, that's where that post-gathering community area is going to be. So we have an opportunity to continue to hang together as a family. So that's the traffic flow in and out of the building. Now I want to give you some information. This is a quick flyby of information about Adventure Kids. And I know more information is coming out specifically from kids ministry, and so be on the lookout for that if you're a parent or a volunteer. But this is just a quick flyby. So this is, we said right off the bat, parents are highly encouraged to use the pre-check-in feature. If you have the Church Center app, use that pre-check-in feature, and that just makes things really easy when you come in. You don't have to, you just scan a barcode on your phone, and that prints out your kids' tags, and you're off and running. The check-in volunteers will be the only people that touch the check-in tablets, and those tablets are going to be cleaned in between services. And then we've got tape marks on the floor in our main auditorium that are measured out to 6 feet, and we're just asking you that you would stand where you need to stand. Again, we are treating you like you are grown-ups and like you are adults. Don't expect anybody to be like the 6-foot police. We're hoping and we're trusting you that you can do what you need to do in order to keep yourself and others safe in that. We're going to ask you at check-in to have your kids wash their hands or use hand sanitizer before they go in the room. Again, if you're walking through the church, there's a good opportunity. If you walk 10 feet or 15 feet, you'll pass 2 or 3 hand sanitizer stations, right? They are literally everywhere. So have your kids wash their hands or use hand sanitizer at check-in before they go to the room. After check-in, you're going to accompany your kids to the drop-off point, and we'll talk a little bit more about that as it relates to their age level ministry area in terms of pre-K or K through 5. There are signs and arrows throughout the building, again, to help direct that flow of traffic. And we are going to work really hard and have worked really hard to set up things that will help us maintain and encourage proper physical distancing for kids while they're in kids ministry. For example, this is the preschool, the 3 to 5-year-old room. We are in the process of purchasing carpet squares that will go down on the floor in this room, where each child will have a carpet square that they sit on that allows us to help better control the physical distancing and space between each kid, so we can send them back to their carpet squares. In addition to that, we're doing things like one at a time down the slide. And again, more of that information is going to come out from kids ministry to parents and families. So be on the lookout for that. And then downstairs in the elementary room, the K through 5 room, we've taken out the benches, and instead we've brought down auditorium chairs, and we've spaced those out as well, so that there's more room there, and we can do a better job of encouraging that physical distancing that we need to encourage. So here's the traffic flow for kids ministry. So as you see that the red arrows are as you come into church, right? So you're going to come into church, you're going to follow. It's a really clean, marked out path. If you're going to kids ministry, there will be greeters and ushers there to help you. If you're bringing your kids, or even if you have friends who are coming for the first time, it's not going to be hard to find because we're going to make sure people are there to help point that information out. So you'll follow the blue tape road. It's not the yellow brick road; it's the blue tape road down to kids check in. Then, if you are a preschool parent, you will go up these back stairs following those green arrows. And if you are an elementary parent, K-5 parent, you will follow the blue arrows downstairs. And so let me give you the some preschool drop off and pick up information. Again, you're going to follow the stairs up. There are lines there are tape marks on the floor as you reach the top of the stairs. Again, just encourage that proper distancing. That again, we got to hold up our end of the bargain on that. So you'll drop your kids off. And then you'll make your way down. If you have younger kids, you'll drop them off closer to these stairs coming up. And if you have older preschool kids, they'll be dropped off down in the boat room, which is 302. And then you'll make your way back downstairs to the main auditorium. So just some preschool specific information. Volunteers, if you're volunteering in kids ministry, you are welcome to wear a mask. We're asking volunteers that you would bring your own personal mask and not use the ones that we have for people attending church or people that may want one. But if you're a volunteer, bring those. And then gloves we've always used gloves when we change dirty diapers, right? That's just a good thing maybe for some people to know. Like when we change dirty diapers, we use gloves. That just seems like, one of those things, you get that. We're going to continue to do that, to use the gloves while we change diapers in for the younger kids who are still wearing diapers. In pre-K, we are there's no snack food that's going to be during service, so we typically give out snack. We're not doing that, so make sure before your kids come that they've got full tanks on that end, that they've had their snack before they come into church, because we won't be having that. But that there's an exception, obviously, for infants who need a bottle. We've also limited the amount of classroom toys in the younger kids' classrooms to allow for easier cleaning. And then this is a big one. We've actually divided the toys in half. And so toys are going to be switched out in after every service. So the kids that play with the 10 o'clock service toys, I mean, this is a good thing to understand. If your child goes to the 10 o'clock service and plays with toys there, all of those toys are going to be removed and put into an empty classroom, disinfected, sprayed down, wiped down, clean, and left there. And then we're going to move the 11-15 toys into those classrooms. So you're not playing with the same toys over and over and over again, and there's not that cross contamination, for lack of a better word, right? In that sense. So we've already done that, and we've got a good flow there of how that stuff's going to work. And again, those are the things, again, we say, like, these are the kinds of things we're doing to make sure people feel safe coming back and being a part of our church family. So that's going to be happening, and all of those toys are going to be cleaned and sanitized before they're allowed to come back into a classroom. So after church on a Sunday, all of that stuff's going to be sprayed down and wiped down and cleaned, and then we'll put the 10 o'clock toys back in the classroom again for the next week, and then we'll make sure we continue to alternate those things. In addition to that, all the commonly used surfaces upstairs in pre-K are going to be cleaned before, in between, and after. We're only going to use 2 classrooms at a time. And so there's going to be 1 classroom for nursery and walkers, and 1 classroom, the boat room, for the 3 to 5-year-olds. And then for the nursery and walkers, we're actually going to alternate classrooms. So the 10 o'clock nursery and walker students or kids, the 10 o'clock nursery and walker kids are going to be in 1 classroom, and the 11-15, they're going to be in a completely different classroom. Again, so we have the opportunity to clean and disinfect that space, and then move those kids into a different space that's already been cleaned and wiped down and disinfected. So those kids are coming back into a space that's already, or coming into a space that's already clean. And for the kids that are going into the boat room, the 3 to 5-year-olds, they're going to be in that room for both services. That room is going to be cleaned and wiped down and disinfected before kids are allowed to be able to come back in there as well. So regardless, your children are coming into safe, clean spaces. The next thing is volunteers. You are welcome to wear a mask if you would like to. Again, just wear your own. This is more kindergarten or elementary specific info. Kids in K-5, the older kids we know are allowed to wear masks. They're able to wear masks. And so if you want your kid to wear a mask, you are welcome to do that. We showed you the picture that the seating in the K-5 room has been changed. And then they're only using that larger room on Sunday morning. There's not going to be small groups and smaller rooms. They're only using that larger room on Sunday mornings, and that room will also be wiped down and cleaned and all that kind of stuff before, during, and after. So those spaces will also be clean. Now, here's the traffic flow for K through 5. Again, parents, you're going to come down. You're going to follow the blue arrows down the stairs. You're going to wrap around to like past the staff offices and things like that, and then you'll see this drop-off point. Again, there's blue tape on the floor for you to those are the suggested space between people as they wait in line, and then you're going to hit this drop-off point where a volunteer will then tell you, or they'll either come get your kid, get your child, and walk them into the kids ministry space, or they'll just kind of give you the motion of, hey, you're cool to come on up and drop your kid off and turn around and head back up to main service. So that's the traffic flow for kids ministry as you are dropping your kids off and then also picking them back up. And you'll notice here at the top of the screen, room 110, which back when our building used to be an office space, an ad agency, that was the front entrance. That entrance, or that exit rather, is an exit only, and that will be available after service. So if you go downstairs and you're able to pick up your kids and you don't have to go back upstairs, you don't have to. You can go straight out that entrance in the room 110 and out to the parking lot that faces Ruck Regal. So that is an exit only and will only be used after services if you don't have to go back upstairs. Again, just want to reiterate this. If parents, kids, volunteers, if you're feeling sick or showing symptoms of any kind, please stay home. And with family serving, or with families attending two services, one thing you got to understand is there's going to be fewer kids in these ministry spaces during these services, and that allows for us to, again, encourage and be able to be really active in the way we engage that proper physical distancing. So that's something I know it's hard to imagine because when we think about adventure, we think about what we're used to seeing. And in this case, it's one of those deals of going, hey, one thing you've got to understand, and you got to kind of get a picture in your brain that you've never seen before, is there's going to be less kids in those spaces, which allows for us to be better at maintaining those things and engaging that. So that is kids ministry. So let's move over to student ministry for just a second. Student ministry, again, same deal. There's going to be less students in student ministry. In the new youth room, we have pushed all the couches and soft seating into one side of the room, and we're not using those. That area or that space is closed down and off limits. And instead of soft seating, we've brought down auditorium chairs, and that one allows us to encourage that distancing, but also it allows us to clean those things. So you can clean a plastic chair way easier than you can clean a fabric couch. So the couches are off limits. Those are gone. And instead, we've got auditorium chairs that are distanced, but also much easier to clean. Again, students, you're able to wear masks if you want to. If you or your family would prefer that you wear a mask, you're able to do that. And nobody's going to look at you like you're weird. I just want you to know that that's like nobody's going to look at you cross-eyed. So you're able to wear a mask. Students, we want you to bring your own PB&J, and PB&J is Pen Bible Journal. If you don't have a Bible, we have them here, and you can take them home. We would love for you to have a free Bible to take home. But bring a pen, bring a Bible, and bring a journal. Go out and get these things, or order them from Amazon, whatever you need to do, because the content that Justin and the student ministry volunteers are going to be walking through this summer is going to be great, and you're not going to want to miss that. But at the same time, too, we want to make sure that you're bringing these things from home. Because it's just easier that way, that you can bring your own pen Bible journal and you can then take it home. As far as students go for check-in, students can go by themselves directly to the youth room. There's no check-in at like the kid check area for students, but here's what we are asking. Once students are in the youth room, don't leave. We can't have people wandering the building. Again, we just want to hold up our end of the bargain in this. So students, once you're in the youth room, you can't leave the youth room without your parents unless you're driving, unless you drove yourself. At the end of service, then you can leave. But what we're asking is during service, once you're in the youth room, hang in the youth room, because that's really where you want to be anyway. And then parents, if you're picking up your student, you're going to follow the same path to pick up your student as you would if you dropped off a K through 5 elementary age kid. So that is all of the info on regathering. This is kind of what things are going to look like, and so we're excited for this. And I think it's going to be a really really cool deal for us to reopen the doors of our church, which truly, like we said, have never been closed. But this gives us a great opportunity to open our doors to our community, to open our doors to the community in J Town, but also to welcome back our family as they are able to, and as people feel as if they're ready to come back to do that. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see you on June 21st, whether that's in person or whether that is online. I'm excited for this, and this is one of those things when they talk about ministry and they talk about leading a church. Global pandemic is not in the instruction manual, and so I just want to say our elders and our staff have absolutely crushed this, and they've been awesome at thinking through and navigating really really uncharted and unprecedented things. So will you join me over the next week and a half in praying for the regathering moment, that people who maybe don't know Jesus, people who maybe have never checked out church, will see that our doors are open and will choose to come in and just hear a little bit more about the Jesus that we love and the gospel that we so desperately depend on. So thanks for hanging out. I know this has been a longer video, but thanks for hanging out. Thanks for taking in all of the info. Again, I know it's a lot, and we will see you here on June 21st. Can't wait. Super excited. See you in a week and a half.